AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built into. That's why it's no surprise that more than 85% of the Fortune 500 use the ServiceNow AI platform. While other platforms duct tape tools together, ServiceNow seamlessly unifies people, data, workflows, and AI, connecting every corner of your business. And with AI agents working together autonomously, anyone in any department can focus on the work that matters most. Learn how ServiceNow puts AI to work for people at ServiceNow.com. Hey everyone, welcome to Serve, brought to you by ServiceNow. Just take a second. Okay. Subscribe. Boop, boop. All right. It's going to be a weird show.
I know.
Because we're going to talk about Sinner dominating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. We're going to get into all of the things on how it's ridiculous and why it's ridiculous and some statistical history. Kostyuk's run in Madrid, we're going to get to that also. Maybe talk about some young players. Players at large don't seem to be too happy with Roland Garros, and we will tell you why. A couple of updates.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'll always tell you what I think, but my facts, they change when new information is brought. So we'll tell you what some of those adjustments are based on a conversation that we had. It was last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, the ITIA, great communicators, emailed us. There are some adjustments to the drug protocol, which I should tell you about when presented with new facts. So we'll get into it. But Mike, did you watch much of the I mean, I can't say much. It wasn't very long.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
But the Sinner final against Zverev.
Yeah, I mean, when we sat down to watch it, my daughter was like, "Oh, how far into the match are you?" And I was like, "About 20 minutes." She's like, "How much longer?" Because she wanted to go outside. And I was like, "It looks like probably about 20 more minutes."
Yeah,
because he was just dominating.
Yeah, it makes you think also, like when the other one isn't there, like when Carlos isn't there, and it just, the divide is just so obvious. And not even just the matchup against Zverev, because now it's probably gotten into the realm where, you know, Zverev, I think, got him more than Sinner got him early in his career, beat him in some slams, and then probably lost 2, 3, 4. And maybe it's a matchup thing. Sinner's obviously like improved. It's absurd to watch him 4 years ago. And then now the strength, the movement, everything that he does, the serve, everything it's like he plays like a full grown up now. Whereas he used to kind of look like he was growing into his body and you could see the flashes. But there was a conversation where it's like, is Sinner going to break out in a slam?
I remember.
Yes, was the answer.
Yeah.
To that. But he can just, it's been fun for me because his base setting where he just goes and bullies you off the court is great. And he would win 5 more slams doing that, right? But the way that he can pick apart strategically in matches, he added in the little choppy Magoo drop shot off the forehand side, hits it cross court 95% of the time, but you just have to cover things. And he's starting to kind of, he almost sets up and then kind of almost like punches the drop shot. He started hitting one-handed backhand drop shots up the line and cross more this tournament than I'd ever seen before. And I was texting with Jim Courier, who is the best commentator in the world for information, right? I watch Jim commentate and I'm going, oh, I didn't think of that. That's interesting. And here's the spin rate. And here's the heat maps for where Jannik's hitting it. I just don't think these things. It's backed up by X, Y, and Z. He's fantastic. I hope I can be half as informative when I step into the boxes as Jim is. But Jannik's now getting to the place where he has all of these options, and I don't even know that he needs to use them, but it's this intimidating thing where you know he has them anyways.
He just has them sitting there in his back pocket, and you're like, oh, that didn't work.
And he's like melted together all these different parts of other people's games. He now switches directions like Novak did, or does, I should say. We haven't seen him in a minute, but like prime Novak does. He's adopted the drop shots from Carlos. He's changed his serve twice in the last 3 years. He's gone from platform to foot up, and then he adjusted something in his toss, which generally a little cagey about, but the progression of his serve, where he loses the U.S. Open final, and you're going, okay, well, far and away one of the best 2 players in the world, And one goes hot for 3 months, the other one goes hot for 3 months. They're all kind of just there the whole time, and Carlos's run last summer, the summer before. So they just go ebbs and flows. Sinner's a better player than he was last September.
Yeah.
Which is absurd to think about, right? I'm nowhere near the player that Sinner was, and you probably would become stubborn if you had as much success playing one way. This guy's in constant shapeshifter mode, right? Like he's adding, the first serve percentage has gone up, a ton this year. Second serve's better. He's hitting his spots better, right? You now have to defend not only pace when he's hitting at 126, but like it's off of the same toss now, which I don't think it always was before. But that's one of the secrets of the greatest servers, right? Is being able to hit different serves off the same toss. So they're not reading it right before you hit it and adjusting. They're reading it off the racket, right? It's like a pitcher hiding their grip or keeping their shoulder turn, where the changeup looks exactly the same as a fastball, but the differential in speed is 14 miles an hour, right? He's now doing all of those things, and he doesn't have to do them, but he kind of flashes them. Like I watched him play Fils in the semis, and he does the same thing against Ben Shelton. He basically was just like, all right. And Artur Fils has been playing amazing. I mean, it's very, obviously Carlos being out, so it changes all the conversations. Novak is that like third guy just because he's Novak, and he made the finals of a slam like 3 months ago, even though he hasn't been playing. So I don't know that anyone can take his spot. But you're looking at like the net, and Zverev is like, we'll talk about the space between Sinner, Alcaraz, Zverev, and then there's at least that much space between the rest of Earth, the normies on tour, not Novak. And the rest of the field. Now, Fils is like the leader in the clubhouse over the last 3 months for that like kind of next situation, and you can feel the hype mechanism building in Paris. So Fils is in form. He hits the ball massively. He's been playing great, match tough, and Jannik dismantled him from the word go. And if you look at the way that he beat Fils and Zverev back-to-back completely different ways. Like, opposite. And I know people are going to go, well, he hit it big and you can't get away from it. Yes, but the differences were very, very clear. Zverev, way back on the serve, like returning from like Rafa place. Fils, like, listen, this guy he's the real deal. He's great. And the matches that he has lost and the players he's lost to are when the guys can rush him, right? When he has time, I don't see a lot of guys beating Fils when he has time from here on out, when he's in form. Sinner was 3 feet inside the court taking second serves, and just it was on Fis's feet before he could actually adjust, and then he was just playing from behind. So forces that first ball, Fils is backed up, and then he just pinned him in the backhand side. Would not let him out of jail. Was like, I'm going to go big. You're not going to, I hit it so big you cannot create space and run around with that forehand to get a hold of the rally. I'm going to pin you there, pin you there, pin you there, pin you there, and then when you start cheating, I'm going to burn you line. And it's like, if you're Fils, how do you get away from that? If someone can pick off corners, switch directions, and they hit it bigger than anyone on earth, what do you do to get out of it? There's not a lot of options. And he hit a couple, early in the second set. The only shot that that was available to him on a regular basis was going hard, flat line backhand. And he hit a couple winners early in the second set. But like, that's a risky shot. Off of pace, like that's not, if that's the shot that if you hit well that you're going to win the point on, and everything else is going to be a struggle, that's depressing when you're in a matchup like that.
I mean, I think for those last 2 matches, Sinner didn't face a single break point in either match.
He was in every return game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and then with Zverev, so you see the way he plays against Fils, he mixes up the droppers a little bit just to kind of show he has it. And then so Fils tries to create some space, right? He tries to like, listen, I'm going to go back to where I want to take full cuts because that's the game now, right? Like you give yourself space and then you make up for not kind of taking the real estate of the court with these big swings and this like the first Luxelon generation and everyone's going crazy. And then Sinner starts dropping him. So he goes, okay, I see your adjustment. Now you have to make up the space inside the court. Fils has to respect that. Then he goes back to pinning him in the corner. It's like, how do you get out of these patterns, right? So then he rolls Fils 2 and 4. And I don't want to be like I love Fils. I think if he can set Paris on fire with his personality, the way he plays, like he's swag max. Like Paris, if he gets over kind of the hometown, home country thing, that place, RG will be rocking.
Yeah,
for him. It's going to be really exciting to watch. And imagine having all that form, being that next best guy, and then like I know what he's going to do. I make an adjustment. He adjusts to my adjustment. I have to change it, and then I get back to the original thing that was working for him. Mm-hmm. That's brutal. Like he has to serve. He has to feel like he's serving 78%. Not easy. So then you go to Zverev in the final, who you've had a lot of success against, who is far and away the next best player after Carlos and Sinner on a consistent basis. So Novak is the outlier here because I don't care what he's ranked. I don't care how much he's been playing. He's a threat in every tournament. He enters from here until, Novak's immortalized in this conversation. So let's just separate him. All the respect lives here, and then I'm going to have a rational conversation about the rest of the tour. Is that that fine?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Can anyone get upset at me for that?
No.
Weird. So then you play the next best player, and it's like, okay, I pinned. It's not going to work against Zverev because Zverev actually likes just going toe-to-toe from that backhand side.
Yeah.
Now, what I think only Sinner can get away with, Alcaraz maybe, but Zverev, if you get into a thing where he's behind the baseline, he can flatten out that backhand, sail it to where it's eating up the baseline, and you can't get away from it. So therefore, he doesn't have to you're not going to be aggressive, and all of a sudden he has to move out of it. What does Sinner do? He didn't let Zverev get set on 2 balls in a row. Instead of pinning him like Fils, where Fils is just getting the same ball, but he just can't get out of it, he didn't let Zverev set up for 2 balls. So they're like, well, he plays Zverev's forehand. I'm like, kind of. He just doesn't let him get set on the backhand. Mm-hmm. Like when he's playing a backhand, he's in movement. And then it's like, okay, so if you're Zverev, you know this. He looked like depressed from the first ball, by the way.
Yeah.
And I want to get into something with Zverev in a second, so remind me to go back to it. He was hurt this week. Mm-hmm. He was hurt last year. We hear very little from him when he's hurt, so I want to give him his props, right? So just save a second for that, and if I get distracted, get me back there.
No, we have some sound from him later that will kind of tee this up.
So completely different than what you did against Fils. Would not let Zverev get set. Like, you can't find that rhythm of movement because Zverev is an amazing mover. If you see him in these long rallies, his rhythm and his sliding, he very rarely doesn't look off balance. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like you catch him and it's like a wobbly shot. Like, his base for someone who's tall and skinny is as good as I've seen, right? And he gets that length on the backhand side, and he basically dares you to try to switch directions. And if you do to the forehand, it's a glancing blow. He can create some height, and then traffic goes back in that same pattern. Sinner can take that ball that Zverev hits deep, kind of cross that eats up the baseline, and he can go toe-to-toe with him with the backhand. And he can also he was hitting this little like inside-out check down line to where then Zverev is all of a sudden having to move to his forehand, which he doesn't like to flatten out. And then sometimes he was even having to go sideways and then forward. And so if you don't hit, like the pressure set, if you're Zverev and you have that ball and then all of a sudden you're 4 feet behind the baseline and you have to run to a forehand and then kind of eat up court and go in, if you don't hit that ball perfectly, that next ball is on you with no notice. Mm-hmm. And then you're scrambling, and then it's Sinner, similar to Rafa, once he gets a hold of you, it's really hard to get out of that equation. I mean, it's just, the patterns were completely different in the semis and the finals. His serving patterns were a little bit different. His direction and when he switched and how he switched was completely different. 2-4 and 1-2. I mean, those are score lines that you win when you're like playing like a state tournament when you're 14.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing that to the best players in the world. Crazy. You have some stat candy for me?
Well, I mean, it's a historic run, obviously, for Sinner. He's the first man ever to win 5 consecutive Masters 1000 titles. Djokovic won 4 3 times, which is a joke. Nadal won 4 once. Neither reached 5. Those 5 are Paris, Indian Wells, Miami, Monte-Carlo, and Madrid.
And 1 World Tour Finals just sandwiched in there.
Just so
we're clear. Just as like an add-on to your stat.
Yeah. Won last 3 Masters of 2026 without dropping a set. First man ever to do that. Won 8 of 9 Masters 1000s events so far. Rome is all that's left on his
perfect
Thanos glove, glass jewel.
His Thanos glove.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's ridiculous. And then fourth man to reach the final of all 9 Masters 1000s, joining Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, did it at 24, younger than any of those guys.
It's just a strange thing. And I say this a lot on the show, like the big 3 go, the one-namers go, Serena goes, and you're like, okay, let's get back to sanity. Mm-hmm. Let's get back to parity. Let's let some of us schmucks get through and have some success. Nope. I
don't know. We were talking about it in the morning meeting, and Megan, newsletter Megan, was like, just again, we're talking about this again. I'm like, I don't know. It's like when the Patriots were going on an undefeated run, you know, every story led with they won again because it's an iconic moment, right? I mean, it's like this. You need to acknowledge how rarefied this is and appreciate that you get to witness it.
Well, listen. We do this show, and I guarantee you some, you know, they're going to be in the comments going, enough with Sinner. It's like, listen, we largely, as a show that covers tennis, get dictated to. Mm-hmm. You want me to ignore a person who's on this run?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's not real life.
No.
That's not like we're just going to like sideswipe because we're bored. If you're bored by this, then you're not watching. And you're not watching the complexity, and you're not watching how it goes. Like it's just absurd. I mean, dismantling people the way that he did, and also, by the way, like he didn't spend any time on court the last 2 matches.
No, he had 10 hours, under 10 hours the entire Madrid, and the first match was over 2 hours, and every other one was under 2 hours, and then it was nothing.
Let's also just talk about Indian Wells, Miami. Oh, he'll take a break. Like geez. I went to Miami once and took 4 months off. I was like, I might actually retire now. Shows up on Monte-Carlo. Chicken dinner there. Oh, well, maybe he just cruises Madrid and everyone's like, maybe he pulls out of Rome. I don't think he can pull out of Rome.
No.
Well, obviously there's he seems immune to pressure, by the way. I don't mean pressure like in matches. I mean like outside forces. If he wasn't ready to play Rome, I have no doubts that his team would take. I mean, he's like the king of the macro view right now.
Yeah.
But like he has 4 days off, 5 days off. Then he plays every other day.
He's only gone to 3 sets 3 times since Australia.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trouncing people. I mean, and he's going to play Rome and he's going to be rested. There's going to be plenty of time. He's not even putting in time. Like, I don't think he's worn out. Like, it's absurd. And I just don't see how anyone really gets in his way right now.
Well, and obviously after the match, Zverev was very dejected, and, you know, he's made some headlines, you know, with a comment that he had. And granted, the whole context of the post-game presser was, you know, I played a horrible match. That was the worst. Anybody could have beat me today. I played so bad.
Yeah.
You know, I came in not feeling great. But ultimately, with all that, he did set up acknowledging this. And Sean, why don't you play it?
Well, I think there's a big gap between Sinner and everybody else right now. It's quite simple. I think there's a big gap between Sinner and everybody else. And I think there's a big gap between Alcaraz, myself, maybe Novak, and everybody else. I think there's 2 gaps right now, but it's difficult to say that there's not a gap between Sinner and everybody else if he hasn't lost a match in, you know, in how many Masters events since Shanghai. He hasn't lost a match in almost 9 months. I think you have to admit that there's a gap between him and everybody else, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm ready to take the leap where there's like a gap between him and Carlos that's sizable, which I think was kind of what he was saying. He was
saying him and Carlos probably are closer together than Carlos and Sinner is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't see a grouping of 1 and then 3. Mm-hmm. I see a grouping of 2 and then 2 and then the rest. Generally speaking, but I mean, he's not wrong. Like, he's not wrong. But like matchups matter, right? Would Novak rather play Sinner? I don't know, Sinner or Alcaraz right now. I know the answers for Zverev. I mentioned a couple times. I talked to him this offseason. I really enjoyed talking tennis with Zverev because a lot of tennis players that you talk to, listen, it's it's in our job title to be in denial if things aren't going well. Right? It's, I need more time. I just need it. I'm closer than you think. Like we are experts at lying to ourselves. Zverev, I talked to him. He is so eyes wide open. He's like, listen, I understand that my career is going to be defined by if I can win the last 2 matches of a slam.
Yeah.
He goes, he mentioned the U.S. Open final. He's like, I choked that away. I mean, he is like, I don't know. It makes it really easy to cover him because he says everything first.
Yeah.
Like,
he just spits it out.
What do you? And people are like, he shouldn't be saying that. I'm like, it's reality though. Like, I don't know. Like, if he sits there and goes like, oh, there's not that much of a difference, I was probably guilty of that. I wanted to lie to myself all the time.
Well, I think Fils, even after his quarterfinals match heading into the semifinal, was like laughing. You know, he's like, I mean, you guys have been watching this guy play. He's like, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was
like that's kind of the, but that's the vibe in the locker room is like, I need to come out, and he's basically what Zverev's saying is like, I can't even remotely think that I can play shitty tennis and compete.
No,
right? He can play some shitty tennis and compete.
Yeah.
Shitty, I'm air quoting, but he can play not the best tennis for himself and still beat a majority of the field.
Mm-hmm.
He gets crushed by Sinner if he plays bad tennis.
I feel like, you know, Carlos is more of an artist, right? And artists sometimes like the brush goes wonky, and then but like when it all goes together, it's the greatest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like Sinner's an algorithm. It's like input, output, input, output, input, output. And
not in a negative way. People say that in a negative way.
Fuck no, not in a negative way.
It's incredible.
No,
right?
it's incredible. But now he's like, he's not just an algorithm, he's like AI. It's like, oh, I learned this new thing.
Yeah.
So I have the answers quicker. Like you can't say like he only does, algorithm makes it seem like it's one way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we opened the show with the variants. Like he's learning in real time and changing and morphing in real time. And it doesn't seem like he has off days. It doesn't seem like, okay, so that I think his temperament is more like Pete, right? Where you kind of knew what you were getting. Any display of emotion outside of what you normally saw was newsworthy. Mm-hmm. And Carlos feels a little bit more like, the magicians, the McEnroes, the Agassiz, when he's all in and dialed. I don't know that there's definitely no one, I don't think there's anyone better, and there's no one more fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as just like excited about just another tennis tournament, I don't know that there's anyone out there like Sinner. Sabalenka is in that conversation now. Like she does the same thing a lot. I mean, she's consistent. I mean, obviously it was like shocking news when she lost a match to someone who played great in Madrid with Baptiste. But yeah, I don't know how you get out of it. And if you're Zverev, I'm curious what the conversations are, in-house. And he made a couple of adjustments early in that match where he was coming in a little bit, did the right thing, and then missed a volley and missed an overhead. So it's like, shit, I'm getting what I need to do, and I just missed it. And all of a sudden, it's 15-40, and you get broken, and then Sinner doesn't give a lot of matches back, right? I know the big one, people are gonna be like Roland Garros, but he didn't play his way out of that, even though Carlos came back. Like he didn't. I've seen what like letting a match go looks like. I've done it a million times famously, and that wasn't the same. So listen, we'll stop talking about him when he stops winning, which doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
Can you talk about that kind of experience going through, having somebody that kind of seemed to have, your cards and had you figured out a little bit? But
who are you talking about?
There was a guy. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not unanimous.
You beat him there.
Yeah. Where?
To the Hall of Fame. You got there first.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Been in the Hall of Fame for years.
Yeah.
What a loser.
What a loser.
Loser. Yeah. So you get to a certain, I'm glad you brought that up. You get to a certain level in tennis where it's like, okay, you're one in the world, but then the superheroes come along and there's a divide. And I find myself relating to Zverev a little bit because it's like, he's better than he was. I mean, he's playing so much better than he was last year. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know that this isn't the best version we've seen of Zverev, but things change, right? And people get better. And 8 years ago, he didn't have to deal with these two guys that were taking the greatest hits from the big three and applying it to themselves, right? And I'm watching it, and I can relate because I'm going, all right, Zverev doesn't like to serve and volley, or he doesn't serve and volley. I don't know if he likes to, but he doesn't very often. I'm going, I don't know. Does he come out and just serve and volley every point?
Like just mix it up, just give it a shot.
Something. Like, does he? baseline to baseline, you remember what I said a couple weeks ago? If I was neutral against Fed or one of these guys, I was behind, right? I could sometimes, against most players, I could sneak my way out of it or find space or find a ball flight or find trajectory to at least keep myself in it. Neutral is behind against, 10 guys on tour, and especially against 2 or 3 guys on tour. And what I see from Zverev is like he would have to play completely outside of his comfort zone. Well, which is what I found myself going through. I'd play Roger sometimes, and I was like, I'm going to serve and volley on every ball, or I'm going to try to go line earlier, which I don't like to do on my backhand, or I'm going to, if he hits that little chip, I'm going to try coming in. If he hits that little chip, I'm going to stay back. So I'm stress testing all these things, and I have no belief in them. I'm hoping they work. I'm hoping they work for a half hour before he figures it out, and then I have to try something else. And that's the spin cycle that I see Zverev in. And I can certainly relate to it. It's like, okay, I serve big. Well, Sinner is one of the only guys that can stand 8 feet behind the baseline, return my first serve that's going 135, and he has the length to cover the angles that I'm creating. And then once you get neutral, it's just like it just wears on your belief system. And I when I'm watching Alex right now, I'm like, gosh, I hope, because people probably tune in, they might see him win a semi, but they're tuning in for the final and they're seeing that it wasn't a great effort.
It's funny you bring up Sinner's length. There was a serve, and I forget which game it was, but it was Zverev pushed him out wide. He literally reached out. Yeah. Sinner reached out max full length, chips it back towards the middle, and then Zverev pounds the ball through the middle, and the Sinner just puts it back towards him, and like Zverev just like dropped his head. He was like, ugh.
Well, when you're
what the hell are you supposed to do?
When you're practicing drills, and if you're Zverev and you're 6'7", and you go, okay, wide, first ball, torch to the corner.
Got him.
You don't even work on the third ball.
Yeah, you're like, got him.
Yeah. Because Earth has said that works. And now it's like he's swallowing up space, and then it just builds in frustration and hope, and I don't know. I relate to it. I do want to give Zverev, I said I was going to get back to it, just props for a second. He doesn't shy away from any question about it, and I'm sure he's like endlessly frustrated by it. He knows everything that we know, except he's actually the one that has to do something about it and not just be like us and just talk shit into a microphone about issues, right? He was beat up in Madrid. His back was bad. His differential, and Courier was all over this on their broadcast, his average serve normally is 128. His average serve for Madrid, first serve, was 122. Mm. So it's like now you're taking 4 or 5% off your fastball. Didn't complain about it. Didn't say I wasn't fully healthy. Got through the tournament, took his beating, went into press, and told you his truth.
Yeah.
Right? And last year, I know this. I talked to him. He was beat up all last year. Back issue into another issue into another issue. He didn't really bring it up. Right? Never brings up, and I've brought it up before, but like he literally is giving himself shots for his diabetes in the middle. Like he has to monitor all the stuff that all the rest of us have to monitor, and then he's
monitoring diabetes,
injecting himself during matches.
Yeah.
And playing long matches. Like, think what you want and say what you want and talk, candidly about the matchups and the deficiencies and all this, but like he doesn't go in and complain about stuff, and he's a truther, man. Like he goes in and just says how it is, and I kind of respect that.
He brought some stuff up afterwards, and Sean, we can play that sound.
Right now I'm exhausted, to be honest. I think 2-week events are difficult mentally. You have to stay focused for longer. I think here also, I like to play 9 matches, but I feel jet lagged a little bit because during the last week, I think I didn't go to bed before 4 a.m. one time. So
he's basically just talking about how he's just exhausted mentally, physically.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, again, the only person that's benefiting from these long tournaments is Sinner right now. Right? Everyone else, it's like he's short on time. He's spacing out all these wins. Like if you're winning every tournament, I think you want the space between. But Zverev's right. And another thing we talked about a little bit a couple weeks ago, but like night sessions are brutal. If you get 3 of them and you're only going to sleep at 6 a.m., it totally defeats the purpose of having a longer tournament.
Because then you're still...
you have no rest days.
Then what he's saying is that you have no rest days, and then you're playing the daytime final. He's like, just keep the final at nighttime then. You put me...
Well, you can't do that, but like, because his paycheck comes from TV, which that's a longer conversation. It's not exactly like you just, whatever, but the cadence is strange. It's really hard. If you're losing early in these tournaments, these long formats, they suck. If you're getting through them, but you're not, like, no one's going home right now. Like, a rest day in a random city where you played till 3 the night before it's a bullshit excuse for a rest day. And the only person who's benefiting right now is Sinner, because he's able to play a prolonged schedule. Like, you used to be, I won the Toronto Cincy back-to-back, and it was 13 matches in 14 days or something. And it was like standing on the sun. Yeah. That's different, right? But you knew what it was, and then you have a week off or whatever. Zverev's Sinner's on like cruise control. Like, it doesn't matter when you play if you're winning in 50 minutes. Now, if you get into one of those long slogs that, you get on 11 p.m. and you play a 3-hour one, your tank isn't full. Yeah. It's like, oh, you have a rest day. I'm like, nah, you have like a rest afternoon, maybe.
What, they all start playing Friday, right? For all the guys that have the buys in the first round, but it's like,
you're not going home.
Like you said, right? Like, Sinner's maybe going back to a place that's comfortable. But
more rest, great. When can I go home for just a second? And I know I can see like, every tennis player at a certain level is living a dream life. Mm-hmm. This is specifically talking about tanks on empty. This is the logistics of emotion and physicality, right? Like, this is what we're talking about. We're not saying tennis players have it rough compared to anyone who has a real job.
Yeah, definitely
right? Not. There were other matches.
There were.
Yeah, so if you skip through the Sinner stuff because you're sick of hearing us talking about winning, this is your time to shine, Megan. This is where we're going to get you. Kostyuk played great.
Let's take a break first.
Always with the breaks. One of the best parts about life on tour, genuinely, was the travel. Every week, a new city, new culture, new spots that I think about. I still think about these spots. There's a restaurant in Wimbledon Village that I've been going back to for 20 years. That's what the tour does to you. And here's the thing nobody talks about enough. Some of the best memories you make out there aren't even on the court. It's the random Tuesday night with your team, somewhere you've never been before. That's the stuff that sticks. So, Served is heading to London. We're going on the ground for Wimbledon, doing our quick serve coverage right from a beautiful home near Wimbledon Village, a home that we found on Airbnb. And honestly, it's exactly what we need. A real home base with plenty of room for family and friends to settle in. It even has an English garden, which I think is just like a normal garden, but it's in England. Listen, over the next few months, fans like me are going to be flooding into cities like London, Paris, and Montreal to catch tennis action live. Hotels fill up fast, so if you're in one of those cities or anywhere else on the tour calendar and you're planning to be away, you can list your place on Airbnb and help meet the demand while making a little extra on the side. Your place might be exactly what a visiting fan like me is looking for. Not just somewhere to stay, but part of the whole trip, the matches, the city, the atmosphere, and the memories that stick long after the tournament's over. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents. All right, welcome back to Served, brought to you by ServiceNow. Kostyuk was legit.
Crushing it.
Do you want me to get into my spiel on the clay of things and
I think
the heater she's on?
Yeah, I think you can. But first, I wanted to show you this video in context because she took down Mirra and Andreeva, right?
Yeah.
She did great.
Yep.
And she shocked the world with what she did post-match. Sean, give it a play.
We got the backflip that we promised. She said she was going to do this if she won. And
that's good knee bend.
That's from a static position. So for those of you who are listening on Spotify, Kostyuk just went from a standstill position, just straight backflip. Fingers barely touched the ground before she rounded it off.
I wonder that serve's crushing.
It would be amazing to see you and Sean try that.
Absolutely not. That
would be great.
My back hurts when I stand up from doing this episode.
Always hurts. It never stops hurting. It's always, I can't sit down anymore during Dingles games.
But no, props to her.
Kostyuk has always played a big game. has always been a threat. I remember her playing Sabalenka in Madrid last year and at Rome, where she was actually able to, Sabalenka won both because that's what Sabalenka does, but like stay more toe-to-toe with her, just general like strength of shot. And you just feel like last year I took her deep in the Roland Garros in our bracket special, has a lot of momentum, has played the best player in the world tough, and then goes out and loses first round to a qualifier, wins like 4 games. And you're going, okay, so that's the space, that's the inconsistency, that's what we're seeing. We haven't seen that much this year. This is a complete, and this result, I know we're going to say, okay, Kostyuk comes out of nowhere and wins Madrid. That's not the story. That's not what actually happened. She's 12-0 on clay this year, including a BJK Cup tie. Mm-hmm. Hasn't lost on clay going into Rome.
Yeah.
Like, and I know there's, it's hard to say someone's a contender if they haven't contended.
Yeah.
But as far as form and as far as kind of finding it and winning a match, that there's a certain type of pressure when you're Kostyuk and you've been ranked, 20 to 30, and then you get to the semis and it feels like an open draw. It's not Prime Iga on clay. It's not Sabalenka on clay. Coco's out of the tournament. It's anyone's win, and it's a Masters 1000. To deliver under those circumstances when there's expectation is a massive departure from the expectation and how she dealt with it last year going into Roland Garros or other times when she's had form, right? I thought start to finish, I mean, she is just stepping in on second serve returns, and there's not a lot of subtlety, I'll tell you that. She is just ripping your face off. And that's its own sort of intimidating factor. I thought she was fantastic. So 12-0 on clay. She's 17-4 overall, and 3 out of her 4 losses have come to either Sabalenka or Rybakina.
Correct. Yeah, and this is her first 1000s title. It's her 3rd career title. It's the first one over a 250. Man. And she won a 250 last event. So she's back to back right now.
And she can hurt you off of both sides. Like, it's not as if if you're Coco at a major, it's like, okay, I can get out of jail to this side. Like, she's stepping on both sides. The game is there. I think it's just a matter of overcoming these stress tests, right? She did it in Madrid, which is different than she's done it before. Can she deliver that at a major? Can she create what she's created the last 3 months for a year? Mm-hmm. And if she does, she's going to be 5 in the world. I'm just telling you, she's going to be 5 in the world if she does something like that.
Wow.
It's a big if. There's a lot of space between where she is now and 5 in the world. The game looks like it's not an outlier result. The record for the season, it's not an outlier result. Now can we take this form with expectation, with eyeballs on you? I always say I think expectation is the hardest thing in sports.
Yeah.
Like, when the expectation is that you win or it's a bust, that's a different sort of stress test than it all being upside and like having a break. Like, the most fun tournaments ever were when there was no expectations and you're in the quarters of a slam.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, this is super happy fun time.
Well, I mean, when you hear something like she has 5 top 10 wins in 2026.
She can beat the big players. She has the firepower.
Like, she's beat Pegula twice this year. She's beat
not an easy
Mirra twice now this year. Who else has she beat? There's some big names. She's beat Anisimova this year. I mean, she's going toe to toe.
There's also a lesson here, because she obviously did it, winning a 250 the week before Madrid. But if we kind of steer the ship towards Andreeva a little bit also, and props to Kostyuk, like, amazing, great playing, sick backflip, amazing, well-earned, start to finish, you were the best player in the tournament. So congratulations, amazing effort. Andreeva, we forget quickly, like, she's now won Linz, semis in Stuttgart, lose to Rybakina, makes the finals in Madrid. And all of a sudden we're going, oh yeah, she's the contender. We've always been waiting for her to like break through and make the finals of a slam and do all this stuff. The conversation in 2025, she goes through the Middle East and wins everything, and then wins Indian Wells. We're going, okay, this is the time. She's going. She's 2 or 3 in the world. The next year was like, it wasn't that, right? And she gets through Miami and Indian Wells and doesn't play that great, goes down a level, wins at 250, and then starts ripping off big results again, and looks like the Andreeva that, she's earned the hype, right? Like, it's been there for a minute, and she's earned the hype, but goes down. You cannot replace match wins when you're trying to find form. I'm such a big fan of going and playing these 250s and
especially at a young age, right?
Yeah, we heard Djokovic talk about it.
Yep.
Like she had the chance to play a 500 at 250 going into Australia, and she's like, the 250, I want matches. And you can translate a 250 win into a big result in a 1,000. It's not as if, you're going to have to go through the best players, but your quality of tennis, like
Kostyuk just did it.
That's what I'm saying. It's you can negotiate that, and there's no replacement for just feeling like you're winning, serving a match out at 5-3, coming back the next day, doing it again, adapting to a lefty, then a right, all of those match type scenarios that you can't replace in practice. But props to Andreeva. I don't know that any player, I'm trying to think, because
she's the first teenager to reach 3 WTA 1000 finals since the format was launched in 2009.
Really?
That's what it says.
Wow.
5 career WTA titles at 18. First to reach WTA 1000 finals on multiple surfaces since Sharapova in 2005.
Yeah, I mean, she has a complete game. She will win big tournaments. She just will. And we get impatient when we respect the hype and the potential for someone as much. She needed the hardest of resets based on her own shadow of expectation, which she's earned. We're not just trying to build her up because there's no track record. She needed the hardest of resets post Indian Wells Miami, and she went and did it. Like she's now kind of, hopefully Rome goes well, but she has played in the majors and she has played deep in the majors, and so look for her to break out even more. I mean, we're all kind of just waiting. It seems like there's an inevitability around her success in a major. I thought, listen, she can be petulant on the court.
I was going to ask you about this.
She can lose it in Indian Wells. I always find that stuff funny because I'm, to this day, in our Dingles game, I'm the #1 prospect to get in a fight with anyone. We have one of my friends here, Greg, who can attest to that.
Yeah, we've seen the broken racket memorialized.
Oh, that
up on
was
the wall.
fine.
That was mild.
I'll pick a fight for no reason. Like, listen, I get petulance. I find it entertaining when someone's doing it. But, like, she loses that match, is emotional, and then gets to the mic, and it's what tennis is supposed to be, right? Obviously, there's an awkwardness with Kostyuk, Ukraine, Andreeva, Russia, and the general acceptance of the fact that, we're not going to be all hunky-dory and go through the normal, handshake of things. And everyone knows it by this point. It's not as if you're blindsiding someone, right? And I don't know that there's been attitude from anyone for it. But I thought Andreeva was great. I think she said, Marta, you played fantastic, and spoke directly to her. I thought she was very gracious during the after effect, and especially when it's a weird situation. It's weird to win a tournament and then not go say props or get props given. And then everyone kind of got upset some people got upset because Kostyuk didn't do the same thing. Guys, it's bigger than a winning Madrid. Like, this is a thing that they've agreed to, whereas like a handshake without any context gets put on a paper and it gets digested very differently in different parts of the world. All right. You cannot take that on and deal with the fallout of it at that point in time. I would guess, and this is purely just bullshit projection potentially, I would guess there was probably a nice or decent acknowledgement behind the scenes. But it is not for public consumption, and it's not based on tennis. It's obviously based on an invasion and geopolitics. So just chill out. Give Kostyuk some grace.
I mean, let
her be happy.
Yeah, she said, I want to thank all of my opponents that I played this week.
Which is the nicest way she could say it to Mirra. It's not a slight on Mirra. I actually thought it was including Mirra in that conversation. I thought they were both great considering the circumstances that were just really weird. Obviously, Kostyuk breaks out in a huge way, delivers on the potential that people have seen, and Andreeva's right back in lockstep, kind of with the trajectory that we saw a year ago plus.
Yeah.
People aren't happy, Mike.
About what? Besides that?
Well, everyone's happy with that. Like, I think everyone's generally pretty happy with the state of tennis, but some of the players are pissed. Roland Garros.
Project RedEye.
What's that?
Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know.
Project RedEye.
I don't know what that is, so how do I know if that's what I'm talking about?
You're talking about the players' letter to Roland Garros?
Well, the letter's fine. I mean, did they write it after the bullshit?
It's Project RedEye.
Do they say it like that, or are you just...
That's apparently what Sean...
Like, what are you doing
That's
right now?
Project RedEye.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
That sounds like a way sicker way
than
being like Project RedEye.
Can you say it normally, or do you have to do it like that?
Yeah, you say normally, you say Project RedEye.
Project RedEye.
That's the most normal way you can say it.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys been doing this in your meetings?
The news just broke this morning. It's just natural. Just how it naturally comes out, Project RedEye.
All right, I'm just to prove you guys wrong, I'm going to say it normally. Ready?
Yeah.
Project RedEye.
Oh my God.
You can't do it.
You can't do it.
Told you.
You can't do it.
So can you tell me what Project RedEye
is? So 20 top players sent a joint letter to Roland Garros expressing collective disappointment over the 2026 prize money. They include Sinner, Alcaraz, Djokovic, Sabalenka, Iga, Gauff. And for context, Roland Garros' prize pool is $72.3 million, which is up 9.5% from 2025. But the player's share of the tournament revenue is declining, 15% projected in 2026, down from 15.5% in 2024.
Yep.
And then players wrote in this letter that they want a 22% revenue by 2030, which is what ATP and WTA 1000s events already have.
Okay, so there's context that we need to tread carefully here with, okay? Again, it's tennis where athletes generally overpaid versus how hard most people's jobs are, okay? And if you were at your job and you did your job really well and revenue grew by 15% or more, and they said, okay, great, thanks for your work, you can participate in half of the revenue generation.
Yeah, it was 9.5%, but still.
9.5%. All right, just so we're clear, the players are begging for a 22% share of revenue from slams. Okay? The NBA went on strike on a 53-47% split. So if you can call tennis players greedy if you want, just because they make a lot of money and they're successful and we have a worldwide product that is fucking awesome. Great. That's your prerogative. If anyone who has more money than they need is greedy, then great. No problem. Live there. To each their own. And also, when you are the driver of revenue success and you are not participating in that success on a year-to-year basis, if it's not prorated based on growth, and the comps to other sports is embarrassing. In no uncertain terms, it's embarrassing compared to other sports. So yes, they're rich and we play a game. And that's, the top players especially. That's not real life for someone 90 in the world. I'm just telling you. That's traveling, paying, and you're not pulling down, athlete salaries, and you're not pulling down, you're not on the Forbes list like we see for a lot of tennis players, right? Tennis is a K-shaped economy too. It just is. So I understand if you just want to say you play a game, I love tennis, I'd love to play it for a living, you make a lot of money, shut up. Great. No problem. You're entitled to your thing. And also, I fully get where the players are coming from and agree with them. If they're growing the sport, at minimum, prize money has to grow on a prorated basis for that growth, at the bare minimum. And then if we get to the other things, asking for 22% when other sports are getting 47% and going on strike if they're not giving it, asking for less than half of what other sports are getting in a revenue share isn't greedy.
The WNBA just held out for 17 months to get roughly 20%.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's...
And I hate to tell you, the tennis tours are way more profitable and in a better place than the WNBA, who just got that number.
Yeah. One thing that Roland Garros did say that they were doing, that they were increasing the opportunity for money for the qualifying and then early main draw. And so essentially a lot of the percentage is front-loaded, right? So I think it's something like a 13% increase for qualifying and 11-ish%, for early.
It'd be easier if everyone
draws.
just got 22%. We wouldn't have to get so fucking cute about press releases, would we?
Math. It's hard.
Yeah.
600%.
I know you're asking for 22, but we gave you 13 in qualifying, which
increased it 600%.
$300,000 total, which is 4 baguettes.
4 baguettes.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
But all right, so we were talking about this, and I wanted to figure out, all right, if the examples we're saying of people, it's work stoppage, right? Work stoppage is what resolves these things. But what can they start doing that would affect the bottom line? And we were batting it around in the meeting. It's do they just only say, when they're asked a question at press, do they say, well, you know what? It was really distracting to really play well when I was only thinking about
No.
We only get 14%.
No. That is not what the players do. That is not.
Like, what can they start with without stopping playing?
So the other thing that's a little bit of a trap is the only people who make these things happen in tennis, because they have the most leverage, the most power, their participation matters more than everyone else. So when you hear Coco Gauff talking about it, it's not because she needs money, and it's not because she thinks she needs money, and it's not because she's greedy. She's like the most mature human I've ever seen at her age. I was a moron. She's like a fully formed adult, right? If she doesn't talk about it, the person who's 90 in the world doesn't get the benefit of it. When Novak talks about it, it's not because Novak needs more money. So if that's your narrative, don't be so lazy. If Novak talks about it, it gets press. Press builds pressure. People need to know what's happening. The top players, I suspect, I haven't talked to each one of them individually, I suspect it's not about their paycheck. They don't make the lion's share of their money in prize money anyways. They just don't. It's done in endorsements. It's done behind the wall. It's done to appear. It's done to go. It's not. I'd never once thought about like prize money in a tournament ever in my life. Just wasn't a priority. That stuff, I'm baking in my hard revenue before I even get to the tournament. They're the ones that have to advocate. The top players are the ones that have to advocate for someone who's 90 in the world who is still worried about the cost of expenses, right? And that's forget about going to 250 in the world, right? Where you're not making a living, like at any scale at all. And you're still one of the best. Like imagine if you went to the 200th doctor in the world, you'd be like, I'm in great hands. This is an absolute expert, right? It probably gets paid well. Not the case in tennis. So when you hear the top players doing it, it's not because they're doing it for their own pocketbooks, right? They're doing it because they have to advocate, one, for the future of tennis. If they don't step in now, they ain't getting to that number ever.
Well, and it's a fair share goal, right? Like they're not saying we want half or nothing else, right? It's fair share goal.
They're not insane.
But then it also has beyond the prize money, it's welfare demands, right? It's they want them to commit to pensions, long-term health insurance, and maternity leave.
Have you heard that the Slam should contribute to healthcare before?
Maybe. Where have you heard that?
Like something?
Like
anything?
Like anything.
Bueller?
Just anybody.
Bueller? Project RedEye.
Project RedEye. Sick name.
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of the things where the players are mad about money. Context matters. These aren't, I know a lot of these players, they're not selfish, terrible people. They're advocating for someone that's coming behind them. They're advocating for a 15-year-old that is going to be 150 and actually be able to make a living, hopefully, in 5 or 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else we got, Mike?
Well, we had somebody from the ITIA reach out.
Yeah.
Somebody from their comms department. They had listened to the previous episode and they had reached out kind of to clarify some things that maybe we were unclear about. But essentially, it was really about the testing protocol, especially if somebody is at home in relation to out of hours testing. Okay,
so just a level setting, we'll make the assumption that you don't listen every week. We hope you do, but the numbers tell us you might not. Because it's not the same every week, Mike. Vondroušová, former Wimbledon champion, refused, basically a tester showed up at her house. She refused the test, said she's scared, unprepared, had a whole thing. I came on and said, listen, you have a window, and that's your window, right? When I was playing, which again, I'm a dinosaur, so I'm going to learn this stuff along with you. I do know the base setting for all of this stuff and what it feels like and having to do it. Inside of that window, I think it should be all fair play. I don't mind the threat of someone coming every day because I want a clean sport, right? This case is going to be interesting because it's not about the actual, she didn't fail a test. She was in her own home, says she was scared. Doper comes to the door. It's not in the
not in the allocated
not
hour.
In the hour, which as now is legal. They did respond because I was like, I don't know what tech can be applied, but they did respond. And by the way, like props, the best thing we can have on this show is someone who can tell us what we're getting wrong, what's changed, in the last however many years, and what tech advances there are with testing now, of which there were some.
And
for the
also
ITIA.
Take the questions and answer them.
It was great. I like we have an open line, and then so by virtue of them being responsive to us, we can pass along that information. I have an issue with part of the story on their side, but I also am encouraged that they are at least thinking through tech advances with testing, right? And do you have a couple of those in front of you?
Yeah, it's I mean, just to be clear, so they had reached out to say, if a doping control officer attends a location that a player says they will be in that allocated hour and the player is not there, uncontactable, that is potentially a strike. If a tester turns up outside of the hour and the player is not at home or unable to return or
which is
uncontactable, then it is not considered a missed test. However, if somebody shows up outside of the hours and the player opens the door or answers the intercom and is notified of who this person is and they're properly identified, then they must provide the sample.
So if they show up, you basically have to let them in. So there's now a number associated with your given case. So there are ways to confirm if the person. There's an app you can call, you can do all this stuff. There is a pretty logical way to confirm if that's the person. Right? If it is who they say they are. I had a question back, right? And I said, okay, so I accept that. There's been tech advances. Thank you for sharing the protocols. Thank you for sharing what's different. Thank you for sharing best practices, in your opinion, for safety for the players. And considering, going back, turning back the clock, an obsessed fan and stabs Monica Seles back in the day. Someone breaks into Petra Kvitova's house and stabs her. We've dealt with a lot of stalking issues, most notably in the last year. Emma Raducanu has had stalkers removed from the stands, right? Just on a human basis, even if you can confirm that tester is there, I asked, what should the person do if they're not sure and or can't get a hold of anyone if it's 2 a.m? And they said, well, they need to call their agent. And I go, okay.
They can make some calls to their agent, their tour, or even the ITIA directly.
Okay, so let's pretend it's 2 a.m. somewhere, and one half of that phone call isn't available. Like, we both have daughters, Mike. Yeah. Let's pretend they're grown-ups. I'm going, you don't know who this person is. You're a world-renowned athlete. I'm telling you not to open that door.
Yeah.
Just as like Papa Bear, I'm not even worried about the technicalities and the rules and the break. Like, that's the last thing I'm thinking about. Is that nuts? I mean,
No.
This case is going to be fascinating because it's like, it's an overlay of best practices, of which I have found the ITIA to be very responsible, even with the stuff last year, overly communicative. Like, if you're not looking for the communication or the rules and you just want to have a loud opinion, fine. Every time I've had a question, we've been able to get their best answer.
Yeah.
And this case specifically is going to be very interesting because it's almost like a human safety privacy issue wrapped up inside of drug testing protocol. It's going to be interesting.
I mean, they said they recently launched like a WhatsApp channel, and we were like talking. It's like, you can build an app
what
anywhere.
If Wi-Fi goes out? Like, there's so many parts of this that are just like
the DCO's identity. So the testers, including a collection order, a photo ID, a unique ITIA passcode.
What if you don't have
and the use of female DCOs for female players? But again, like that,
which is great, which is fantastic and thoughtful in the whole thing.
It's good, honest first steps. But is it enough?
I'm sorry, like, if there's a 5% chance it's a wacko, I'm not opening the fucking door. And I'm not, like, I wouldn't tell anyone I cared about to open the door.
No.
Right?
I agree.
I don't know how this is going to play out. This is going to be really interesting. And there were some parts, like they did say, we can't talk about this case specifically. These are our standard practices. So it wasn't as if I could say, I was very specific about this case and the potential problems. I was speaking to this case and they couldn't speak to this case.
Yes.
So just to be totally fair, I could go further than they could legally in this conversation with very, 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 very pointed questions of which they can't legally answer.
Yeah.
Right. So I like them. I respect them. I think they do a great job. And also I'm fascinated by this case because I think it's full of complexities of human safety and privacy overlaid with drug testing protocols.
Yeah. And I think what you said, is the ITA, they want to get it right.
Yes.
That's their job. Their job is to get it right and to also maintain fairness for everybody on tour. And so I think it's an imperfect process, and they get it figured out. But to me, I'm uncomfortable with any woman in my family answering the door for somebody unexpected if they're nervous about it.
Yeah, I don't. It's like, well, they'll show you their identification badge. I'm like, I could probably figure out how to get one of those in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I listen. There's some whole. I understand their reasoning. I also think there are some very interesting parts of this case. I'm curious to see where it goes. But I am thankful because the last thing I ever want is to come on the show, not have the full picture. It's an opinion show. I'm going to give them. Mm-hmm. It will never supersede new facts ever. So we even talked about an update show where like something happens, we get feedback, we're wrong, or we left a part out, or there's some other thing
changing,
or that it's happened since. We got reach out from someone in the Arkansas men's tennis program on stuff that's happened, and we'll follow up. I think Megan's gonna follow up.
Yeah, Megan's doing some interviews
because she doesn't want to talk about Sinner, so she'll talk about that. So we're always going to be a show that, listen, we can have our own opinions, but we don't get our own set of facts if things are changing and if there's a moving target. What else we got? We were supposed to talk to Cobolli for Q and Andy.
Yeah. Flavio Cobolli was supposed to come on and do a special. He was supposed to be on this show today.
Then he couldn't do it. What possible excuse could anyone have not to come on this show?
He had to go see the president of Italy.
That makes sense.
To accept a reward or award. Was it a reward or an award?
Reward. Well,
I think it was an award.
Award?
A reward?
I don't
know.
Like he got a cash payment for the
president for winning Davis Cup?
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be sick.
Fuck, I played at the wrong time.
Wrong country.
That wouldn't have worked. So, that's just horrible.
I
just
know.
bailing on us to go get.
But good news. So Q and Andy is going to come out later this week.
A little delayed. It's
because
Thursday mornings. I know you all know this.
I know. He's going to join us on Thursday, and we're going to turn that around as quickly as we can for Friday.
Got it.
So send in any of your questions you got for Cobolli, and we'll pop them off to him. He's going to tell us what it's like being in Rome.
I'll tell you that guy. You ever looked at that guy?
I mean, him and Berrettini hang out in Rome.
Dude.
Sorry, Rome. Rough life for Rome.
Guy's like eyes like oceans. Anyways, he's going to come on. A little bit of a delay on Q and Andy this week, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Did we get it all?
Well, I got some poll results for you, a new poll question, and then I want to preview something else, but we'll do it right after break.
All right, we are back from another producer Mike break. That's what I'm going to call them from now on.
You mean the breaks that we required so we can do the show?
Excuses.
Jeez.
What do we got?
Last week we put up a poll question asking, does Alcaraz's high-intensity style make you nervous about his career longevity? The options were too early to tell, let's see, no, this is just the Nadal early years blueprint, or yes, he's 22 and already missing out too many events.
Yeah, I'm concerned about everything. And yeah, we're concerned about the health of players that play insane. Like, I also would have told you that Rafa was done by 26.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know? Like, he's gonna have to learn like scheduling. He's gonna have to learn the cadence in different times in his life. Is he gonna be able to just show up and run around and go in like super turbo mode? Like as he ages, he's gonna have to like figure out the ebb and flow of things. But yeah, I mean, when someone has that engine, I'm worried about it blowing. Like, of course, and very recent history suggests that they're going to take the long view and not force injuries when they come, which is best case scenario for tennis earth.
Yeah. 50% said too early to tell. 38% said no. And 11% said yes. They're panicking.
Then it's settled.
Freaking out. New question for this week is which breakout player from Madrid has the best chance to continue the run in Rome to the quarters or further? We're going to go with Rafa Hodar, Alexander Blocks, Anna Potapova, or Haley Baptiste.
I love what I'm seeing from Baptiste.
Yeah.
Hers looks very repeatable, the easy power, the variety. Once she kind of gets control, which I think she's starting to get over, she can chip, she can volley, she moves pretty well, she slides well on clay, a lot of like stick save on the run. She is serving better, and it looks like she believes. Like, it looks like she thought she could win that match against Sabalenka, and she delivered. So, love where she's at. Clay might be her best service for whatever reason. Clay Baptiste.
So good.
Yeah, that was props to. Was that Sophie's?
Social Soph.
Yeah, Clay Baptiste. Blocks was great. One of the observations I'll make about the new players, it used to be back when I was playing. It used to be prospects would come out. They'd break out, and then the conversation was always like, I wonder how they're going to adjust to clay, because everything was kind of fast, and then that was like a conversation, and, I wasn't good, and it didn't turn out well, and some people did, and, whatever. but it used to be a lot more siloed where people played well. Like you knew Pete, I think is, greatest player of all time and made the semis of the French. And it was like a grind to make the semis of the French, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I think because everything is slowed down, you're getting this Luxilon generation. And I mean, not people are going to be like, Luxilon's been around. No, the people that were born into Luxilon, like the people that the only thing they've ever had in their hand is Luxilon. Huge swings, way back. You don't really lay off of many shots. And now the question is almost, how are they going to play on something faster? Like, how are they going to play at Wimbledon? How are they going to play? So I mean, Hodar, I think is legit. I think I think his ascension to the top 20 is going to be quick. Block's had a nice breakout tournament. Let's see when there is expectation. The level set, I don't think he'd won a tour match on clay before this week. So like, there's still some runway there. I think those two are probably different. Potapova is fantastic. I thought she was great. And I think Baptiste, I don't think any top player wants to play her.
Oh,
I think she can take out, she has variety. She can play in a couple different ways. And she's going to be on Love All.
She is. She'll be joining Kim and Blair tomorrow. So check that out. Drop in the morning.
You know what I'll be doing?
What?
Listening to that shit.
Oh, I like that. Correct. You know what else you need to do?
Tell me.
In about 3 weeks, you need to put in your bracket challenge.
Ooh, I love a bracket challenge.
Everybody go to surfpodcast.com. You can see the bracket stuff at the top. You can sign up and you'll win some merch if you beat the field. And I think, Sean, we're exploring a full year bracket challenge as well. I think we're going to get that updated on the website.
It's crazy, guys.
I know.
That's crazy. All right. Thanks for watching Serve. Brought to you by ServiceNow. We're going to go into another break. It's just going to be a week-long one. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents.